So I see this question pop up on social media a lot with some local mom groups. I usually see mom groups, moms on social media pages where they're asking for stay-at-home work, and they are not interested in multi-level marketing, selling products and stuff like that. They want a work from home job. And there are some things here and there that people will recommend. However, I will say working from home is working a full-time job. And if you have little ones at home, you're basically doing two jobs at the same time. I think there is an idea where, oh my goodness, if I work from home, then I can make money and not have to pay for childcare. But really, you're just robbing from your emotional bank, and you're deceiving yourself, because now then there's these super high expectations that you've put on yourself that your kiddo needs you, but mommy's working, and then you're frustrated at your child because you chose to take a job at home when it used to be that we would just go into work if you were going to work and you had to find your own childcare. But if you chose to stay at home, you were staying at home. So anyway, as far as what are some things that you can do as a mom to bring in extra income without taking on some type of full-time job and trying to watch your kids at the same time. For me, I follow an understanding where what are you already good at, and how could you make money or leverage doing what you're already good at and place some sort of value on it within your community, within the influence that you already have. So initially, it started out for my husband and I. He was already working two jobs, like a full-time job and part-time jobs, to try to cover bills for us. Initially, it started out as I was babysitting out of our home. I started a daycare, essentially, and I would have kids, and they had to sign up for full-time, or they had to pay for full-time. It didn't really work with my schedule or my income. I really wanted steady income. So I opened up however many full-time spots I had, like maybe one or two full-time spots. And we set up a payment schedule, a way for me to get paid. I did the first year or two, I guess what I'm trying to say is I did become aware of taxes being a part of that. And so I had to adjust my rates for the next year, and also have an agreement. I would suggest a written agreement with the family that you're working with, like what do vacation times look for? Are you going to give them a discount if their kids are sick, or if your kids are sick and they're not at your house? There were times where maybe one of the dads would get off early and would want to pick the kids up early, which was fine, but I wasn't going by hourly. I just had a flat weekly rate. I would just write everything out so that nobody's caught off guard or nobody has expectations that haven't been talked about. And that's what we had to do with taxes moving forward too. We split the taxes and had to work through that. The easier thing that I didn't even know was possible, but probably I would use now, if you're not great with bookkeeping and record keeping and all that stuff, if you get a payroll service, they can pay you through the payroll service, and then all your taxes and stuff are automatically taken out. But that would be more like you being a W-2, not you owning your own daycare, which is what I signed myself up for. There's so many things. I mean, I can't tell any one person what to do. But for example, I'm just trying to think. I have a friend that flips furniture, and that really works for her as a mom, because she'll go thrifting on her own time, and she'll, clean and polish and paint the pieces on her own time, and then she sells them for a profit. and she doesn't need ongoing income, but it is larger chunks, and she just kind of stacks that up. And maybe she saves that for a vacation. Maybe she saves that for, like, she's really great at gifting things to people. She really likes buying gifts. So maybe that's her, like, it's not money that she's trying to live off of and get consistently, but it's enough that she feels like, oh, I'm so glad that I have this spending money, because then I can do X, Y, Z with it. I found that to be true too with scones. It was something that I could do on my own time, and I froze them, and I prefer selling them frozen versus trying to prepare something that has to be fresh the day they pick it up. That was just too much of a time constraint on me. I did not thrive when I was set up to, like, bake orders for people and things like that. So you just have to find something that fits your rhythm, fits your style, fits your passion. There are a ton of things that you can copy and paste. I know people that, like, shop TJ Maxx and then they resell it on eBay or something like that. There's ways to do that. But instead of finding some side hustle that your friend does and that you want to copy paste, I really believe, like, where there's favor, there's provision. So I just started making scones because it was a recipe that I found in this new cookbook, and my kids loved it, and then their classmates loved it, and then people were asking for the recipe, and my kids wanted scones, not donuts, when it was their birthday, and took them in for class. And, like, I was like, I think people really like these. I wonder if I made them over the holidays, if people would want to buy them frozen, and then when they have their Christmas potluck, whenever they have their holiday get together with their family, or they have friends in from out of town, like, then they could just bake them off whenever they wanted. They wouldn't have to pick them up fresh from me or a bakery. They wouldn't have to make anything homemade in their home. They would literally have something that goes straight from the freezer into the oven. It's super simple, and they're so yummy, and they're organic. I thought, I don't know, maybe I'll see if people are interested. And I was really surprised. And then, I mean, like, last summer, had all the kids home. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. My health was not the best. And I did not push any new scone flavors. I wasn't advertising, anything like that. And we had a great summer. It was fine. And then in the fall, all of a sudden, you know, my sister-in-law asked for scones for her wedding. Another person, I think, had a birthday party. Like, all these, like, orders started coming in because people wanted my scones. And I just thought, oh, okay, I guess I'm still in the scone business, you know? And I feel like the Lord just keeps dropping these little things in my heart of what to do next. And they're so small that it's doable. And I just feel like as long as I have the grace to carry that, I'm having fun developing it, because it's not something that I have to live on, something that I have to work with. The other thing that I'm doing is, instead of pulling money, like whenever I sell something, instead of being like, oh, I have this much money from scones, I'm just reinvesting it back into my supplies, back into whatever. And I just want to keep that rolling so that I'm not, again, draining from our personal finances that are coming in from my husband, but I want the scone business to be self-sustaining. So those are my thoughts on working from home. Fine, if you really just like the idea of making money, you know, or maybe you're in a pitch and you need to make money, I would pray about it. I would ask the Lord, like, what am I already good at that I could bring value to the marketplace with, that's not going to stretch my time with the kids, you know? And that might change season to season. Like, maybe your baby sleeps a lot or is content to just kind of like sit and play on the floor. I would say, if you're just sitting them in front of the TV so that you can take meetings on the phone, maybe that's not a great work from home position. If you're trying, if your goal of staying home is to, like, be present with your kids, maybe that's not the best. But just try to think outside of the box. You don't have to copy paste what other people are doing, but what is a need in your community? Like, maybe there's other moms that want to have, like, a mom's day out. Maybe you could just host, like, you don't have to have an ongoing daycare. Like, that actually was really draining for me. Like, my goal was to stay at home with my kids, so it worked in that season, but it was not my gifting. Running a business was, but, like, I it's not like a passion of mine. You know, I didn't love it. And I felt like I got held back in some things because I didn't get to take my kids to the park as often, or I didn't get to go out and take them different places because I had other people's kids that I had to watch. But maybe you do a mom's night or a mom's day out where you watch the kids from 9 to 2 or 9 to, I don't know what it is, but like you could charge them just like a price for the day, and then you get, I don't even know how much you would charge. Maybe you charge like $20 per mom, and maybe you have like 4 or 5 slots, and you get $100, you know, in one shot. I don't know. But those are my thoughts on working from home. I've seen it done a bunch of different ways. I would just challenge moms, if you're trying to work from home because you think you're making money and saving on childcare, it might not be what you thought it was going to be. And I just want to encourage you, if the Lord wants you home with your kids, like He's going to make a way financially for you to figure out how to save money. My husband and I have had random money come in that we didn't even, we won like a sweepstakes from our bank one time. They called up my husband, hey, you won $1,000. I'm like, Josh, that's a scam. There's no way. You have to call the fraud security. You have to call our bank and see, like, and just tell them, like, we got this weird call, blah, blah, blah. But it turns out it was true. And we walked in to our real bank, branch, and signed a piece of paper. I guess you just had to swipe your debit card, and every time you swiped your debit card, you got entered in to win this $1,000 sweepstakes. And we won it. It was so weird. We've gotten things on sale that never go on sale, you know? So if it's really a money thing, pray about it and trust in the Lord about it. If it's a career thing, like, again, ask the Lord, where am I supposed to start now? If it's if you're just bored and you're like with your kids and you're like, this doesn't feel fulfilling, go talk to some other moms, but like, see, like, what is that reason? Why are you looking for a job? You know? And jobs aren't bad. I just think we need to consider, like, if you're signing up for a full-time job, you still might also need some help with childcare. I would just look at it as like, hey, if you were already going to plan to go to the office, then you'd need to find childcare. So if you're planning to work from home, you might want to consider, like, what are your childcare options? Even though you're not going to a physical location and your child technically can be at home with you, like, what are your goals? Are your goals to be a stay-at-home mom? Are your goals financial? And anyway, it just comes down to the root of, like, what are you doing, what you're doing, and are you aware of that? Because there's so many ways. I thought so many ways to skin a cat. I don't really like that phrase. But there's so many creative solutions that can come from being still with the Lord and understanding, like, what are the things that you're good at that you can monopolize on, that you can turn into cash flow, that don't require you to also give up if you have a goal of being home and staying home with your kids. So anyway, it just came to mind, but I see it come on Facebook, mom pages all the time. So I just thought it was worth talking about.